Greetings, Richard. We are live on Facebook and LinkedIn. And let's switch over and go live on Instagram. We are live on Instagram. Well, Richard.
You
Or am I supposed to say Rich?
can call me whatever you want. You made me.
After all, I am the one that gave you that name, even though you're named after your dad.
Right.
Hello, everyone. We are back again for another coaching conversation. We are glad to have you with us, and I am glad to have my lovely son, aka Sunshine. The world knows him as Rich Morrow, and I know him as RJ, and we got a few other family names that I won't
Yeah,
say.
you can't say all the nicknames.
I'm so glad to have you here, Richard. Tell the world, how do you show up in the world?
How do I show up in the world? I
Yes,
think most people that know me know I show up as myself, but I try to be the life that I feel like is missing in a lot of different areas wherever I show up. If I see it's a little bit of, darkness, somebody might need a smile or something, I try to be that person to give them a smile. They need a laugh, I try to give them a laugh too. If they need a rich talk, I'm good for that too.
Rich Talks, Rich Talks. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, tell us, we're supposed to be talking about breaking into the entertainment industry and mentorship. So tell us a little bit about that. Why breaking into the entertainment industry?
Well, like the process of getting into the industry isn't what people think it is. You have this idea of what you think being in entertainment is until you actually get into entertainment. And although it looks fun and like you're having fun and it's just a easy flowing kind of things just come to you kind of job, it's not really that. You gotta have a plan. You gotta have structure. You gotta have resources. And I thought if I made a book that was gonna help other people not have to go through the long process of having to discover all those things that I did, that I was doing my part, because I don't think it has to be as hard as it is, but I do know that unless you understand the process that it really takes, it's going to take you a lot longer. And that's why a lot of people don't ever make it happen, because they make it extremely hard for us to access a lot of the things that we need to be successful in entertainment. So it's really on you. It's not like it comes with a blueprint. Unless you got people that are really doing it at the highest level, it's really hard to get that guidance. So I wanted to create a book that was going to be able to help people be able to do
I love that. I love that. That book is so meaty also. Tell us the title.
that.
Let me see. Can I pull it up?
Breaking in, laying the foundation, volume one. So I do plan on doing more of them, but the volume one edition pretty much speaks to the person that makes the decision or is thinking about, I think I want to do entertainment. I think this is something that I might want to try. They don't even know what part of entertainment they might want to be in, but I give you the foundation that you need to at least get moving in the right direction and to be able to start to understand what that process actually looks like in order to put yourself in a position to be successful. So,
Wow.
yeah, as you can see, the book has so much in it, like you said, but I wanted to make sure the first volume was for people that already may be in the industry, but also for people that are even just hopping into it and don't know anything. So I got a lot of different things that I learned over the years, stories about how I got some of my first roles and strategies I used to kind of build my resume to be able to get representation, all of that. So I just wanted to give as much as I could with where I'm at in my career to be able to help as many people as possible.
And you got some stories. You literally broke in. I do believe. What I remember most is when you told me that you were gonna once you were done with college, you were going to go to California to be an actor.
Yeah.
And what did I say?
I'm pretty sure you told me, all right.
I remember saying, "Well, hell, if I'd have known you wanted to do
You would
that,
have had me, you wouldn't have had me, you would have been paying for all of that other stuff I was doing.
yeah, going to college, we could have skipped that."
No, I needed to go to college though.
Why did you
But
need
that's
to
one
go
of the
back?
things that people don't understand about being, an actor too, though, is that the life experience is what really makes you a great actor that's able to have character because you can't expect to be the main character if you ain't got no story. You know what I mean? And you pull from all those life experiences and being able to show up in different environments. And then it translates into you, being able to be familiar and actually knowing how to respond when you are reading the script or when you need to find inspiration for how you're going to attack something.
And Richard, you've been out there for 10 years now. It'll be 10 years
I
in
know, right?
September. What does that feel like for you?
It's honestly surreal because it make me feel kind of old. I'm like, damn, where did all these years go? But it's a grateful feeling at this point, especially with everything that's going on, and just knowing, like you said, that I really did break into it the way that I felt like I had to. I'm sure there was plenty of other ways that things could have come together for me in different ways, but after 10 years, I feel like I finally understand what people say when they say it take 10 years to be an overnight success because every bit of these 10 years has been a learning process towards me being able to actually do what I came out here for in the first place.
And what
So,
was
you know, man, I wanted to be an actor that was going to be able to tell stories, create my own, give people opportunities, work with the greatest people and most brilliant minds, be able to create things that I just feel in my heart the world needs to see and be able to be a part of stories that shape and change, the way things are going. And I've been able to do all of that and I'm grateful. And I know it's still just the beginning, but um, up until this point, it's been a tough ride with a lot of things to be able to celebrate along the way at the same time, which I'm very grateful for because I think those little wins are what kept me going. And even if they may not have been exactly what I may have wanted ideally for myself at times, ultimately
Mhm.
I realized they were exactly what I needed and where I was supposed to be.
Right. And when you say little wins, talk about those little wins. Because I don't
Well,
think they were really little,
I was
actually.
gonna say that's up to perception. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think anything that you're able to do towards what you really love and being able to do it and get paid for it, that's a huge win. Not everybody gets that, opportunity. So I don't want to belittle any of the opportunities, but some of them, having roles where you may not have a speaking part and you have to swallow the pride of being in a room and being on a set amongst peers that might be your age that are in a completely different position than you are and having to understand that it takes time. You got to pay those dues. They paid their dues just like you did and like you are. So you have to put yourself in a position to be able to be humble enough to be able to still learn, to not let that be something that discourages you or makes you feel like you're never going to get there. I think going through those years of like doing the extra work on Disney Channel and doing random things just to be on TV to be able to get myself that experience, game shows even, just being around different types of people and environments and getting comfortable being in front of the camera. Those were small wins for me. And even the commercials. Commercials is a great way, to really get your feet wet before you get put in a position where you feel like you're thrown in the fire with a bunch of professionals and you got to deliver, you know, a whole different type of performance. But commercials really allow you to get, those muscles turning and, exercise them for the first time to be able to be in front of a camera and actually perform.
What did it feel like the very first time you were in front of a camera?
It was crazy. It reminded me of being in a game in basketball playing on TV. It felt like the show. You in practice all week, which is the equivalent to me as going to class. You spend all this time in preseason getting ready, and then you finally get the game day, and the lights is on, and everybody look good, and everybody in a good mood, and everybody is, on point. And then you hear that lights, camera, action, and it was like the first time I just remember thinking to myself, I was watching Kevin Hart, so it was pretty easy, you
Hmm.
know, Ice Cube at the same time. It was pretty easy to be inspired, but the biggest thing that I saw from it was I took away from that, like, I can do this.
That's
And watching him up close work, it didn't make me feel like I was near where he was at the time, but I could definitely tell it was something that I would be capable of doing if I put my mind to it. And that was when that was when the wheels started turning and I felt like I had that light bulb moment.
Tell everyone about that experience because that was on the set of what was that show? What was that movie called?
It was Ride Along 2. How do you
Ride
forget? You
Along,
don't remember the first movie I was ever in?
Ride Along 2. And it was you were still in college.
Yeah, I was actually. You ain't supposed to be telling people that.
Well, why not?
Because that wasn't technically legal for me to do, but I did it. And hey, now we got NIL and kids is able to be on TV and in commercials now, so I guess it don't matter. But
Ah,
yeah,
oh,
technically I wasn't really allowed to do that because I was still, a college athlete. But the thing was, I realized that one, I kind of had my mind made up because I went to that workshop that I fell in love with, and that was also taking a risk. So a lot of people be scared to take risks and stuff. I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm about to go see at least what this is about because I knew I wasn't gonna play basketball forever. And I knew I was way more than just an athlete. And when you grow up doing one thing your whole life, you look at so many things through that scope instead of seeing the grand picture of what's really going on and
mhm,
what you're really even capable of. And other people sometimes will tell you because you can't see it yourself. Like we discover ourselves through other people in that way where they are going to tell you and give you evidence of who you are over time. And people started telling me like, man, and you remember, obviously I was doing vines and doing all kind of stuff. So I had an idea, but as far as like really being an actor and it being in my career, that wasn't something at the time I was even considering. So,
mhm.
I went down to Miami. Me and my boy T Pendle, we heard it was a casting for Ride Along 2 and that they was filming down there all month. And I was like, shit, I mean, what do we got to lose? Or worst thing they could say is no, you taught me that.
Right.
So we, saw the little description of what they was looking for. They were looking for detectives or something like that. I'm like, cool, we can go grab some slacks, a button down, take our ass down there and just see what happened. And we went down there. We went down there and they were doing like a wide casting call. It was kind of crazy and they were saying people's names and telling people they had to just write their name down on the sheet. So we went up there and wrote our name down like we were supposed to be there.
That's right.
And
That's
yeah,
right. Walk in the room like God sent you in there.
so we put our names down and they called our names, gave a look at us and was like, you guys go over there, you guys go over there, start separating people. And they gave me a badge and I'm like, I don't know what's about to happen, but it sounds like I'm in there, so I'm gonna just keep on going. I ain't gonna say nothing. And before you know it, I'm sitting around and they're telling us what we about to be doing. We're going to be walking in and out of a police station. Just keep it casual. You're a detective. You may have some interaction with some of the cast. Please don't blow it. Basically, they saying don't do nothing crazy.
Right.
It's Ice Cube and Kevin Hart in the scene, so be mindful. So I'm like, okay, sound like I'm about to be in a scene with them too. This is perfect. So I remember they had it was a hotel, and the police station was the hotel, and they had turned it into the front of a police station. So there was a bunch of people in the hotel that was screaming, trying to get Kevin and Cube's attention the whole time, and I'm just sitting there. This is my first time in any of this, so I'm just observing it all. I'm like, wow, this is actually crazy. One,
Right.
I'm more amazed that they turned the hotel into a police station in the first place. That was what was blowing me.
Right.
But I'm in there, and I remember, we were about to get started, and it just started raining.
Oh, it's raining?
It started raining on like our first two takes, and they had me just walking out of the door. I had to open the door, keep on walking. Ice Cube and Kevin end up walking in. Super simple.
Right.
We couldn't even get through that part because it started raining. And this is where I knew God was really in the building, because that rain delay is what really shifted my whole mentality with everything, because I got to sit next to Ice Cube and talk to him. So the
Right.
rain delay happens and they separate the people that's inside, they separate the people that's outside once it really start pouring. Kevin went to his trailer. It was just me and Cube inside. So he's sitting at his chair. I'm sitting off, kind of, I don't know, probably like 20 feet away on the floor. Bunch of people screaming his name, trying to get his attention. We the only two people in the scene that was over there. So he looked over to me and he was like, "You ain't got to sit all the way over there." he was like, "I ain't gonna bite." He said, "I'm not a princess." He was like, "Kevin, the one that need all that security." So I walked over to him, and I got to ask him questions and tell him about myself and that I was a college athlete, and just hearing him talk about the work and the process of just understanding that you got to be you, and it's more about showing up than it is about necessarily what you know all the time. And seeing what he's done, knowing his story already, his background, it was almost like that was exactly what I needed to hear, because all I wanted to do was have the opportunity to put in the work. And I was so fascinated by everything that it entailed, because it was a whole new world of things for me to learn. I
Right.
knew basketball, I knew football, I knew even bowling, you know what I mean? So many different things, baseball, all of that. And one thing I didn't know was so many things about, really being an actor. It looked like a personality based job almost to me. And hearing that, it just excited me, and I just wanted to learn more. And it gave me the confidence of, like, I got Ice Cube telling me, like, yo, you just gotta just do it. And
Right.
you got somebody like that telling you, I don't think it's an accident by any means. So, I took that seriously, and I got to spend that whole day there watching him and Kevin work, and being in, the scenes with them, and seeing how Kevin's family showed up and they were there. And it was a lot. So it was dope to be able to see that and be able to be like, okay, this is real. People really do this for a living. It ain't just fantasy like you see and hear about. I'm like, no, Cuba's a real person. And just like, me, he put his two shoes on and he just put in the work, and he relied on, his talents that God gave him. So I was like, all right, we're going to see what God got in store for me. And that was the beginning of all of that.
Now, if you all look back on Richard's Instagram page, you'll be able to see photos with him, with Kevin Hart
Thank
and
you,
Ice
on them.
Cube,
Yeah,
and the one that he's talking about where it was just him and Ice Cube. Um,
yeah, it was crazy.
oh, yeah, that's good to have those beautiful memories. So now you all have the story behind the scenes of those photos. Now, had you taken the acting workshop at that time?
I believe I did. And if I didn't, honestly, I can't remember, but it couldn't have been too long before or too long after, because I remember that was when I decided, like, all right, I want to know more. But the workshop was a whole other thing in itself, because I actually got to spend time intimately learning things about, acting, instead of it being just learning on the fly, which I think is a great thing too. A lot of people that get into the industry be feeling like, this is a waste of time doing this and that. I've done so much free stuff over the years, it's actually probably sickening. But I needed to do a lot of those things to be able to get that experience and confidence in front of the camera, and also understanding what this was all about. I've learned every aspect of being, in a production by being in a different part of all of these different productions, just
Mm-hmm.
to see if it was something I would like, but also to get the knowledge to know, how can I make this person's job easier as an actor or a producer, so that I could be the best version of that myself. So, um, it was just a matter of taking risk, and at the same time realizing that I got to be an open book that's willing to learn, because there's so much to learn, and it's a long road. And I didn't just have people that was just giving me information.
Right. I think that was one of the big things that you learned, that not everybody is giving you the information. Not everyone is giving you good information. That there isn't a lot of transparency.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to that at all?
Um, well, what I can say about that is, you can take you can take anybody's advice in today's day and age. I don't think it necessarily matters as much if you have people that are directly in your circle that are knowledgeable enough. I think it's a matter of being smart about how you do research on those topics and getting credible sources, and also using word of mouth from people that you do actually trust. May not be somebody you know directly, but you may know somebody that knows somebody that is really knowledgeable in that field that you can get connected to, and you can't be afraid to ask. I think a lot of my issues were, I was dealing with the network that I had, and I was afraid to ask for help out of by people, of people that really had that experience. And I think it really started to change when I started to make friends with people that were doing this on a higher level. because I wasn't afraid to ask them for help and ask them for guidance. And that was when I really started learning. So the people that I expected to give me all of this valuable information and things like that, they had other agendas. But people that are doing this for a living and this is their livelihood, but also have things that they can relate to with you, you know, that's a whole different situation. So that was what taught me the importance of community and how important it is to get yourself integrated into the community of whatever industry you are entering. In this case, it's the entertainment industry. It just so happens to be a fun one, but it's not always fun. And I know networking isn't easy for a lot of people too. So when you're not in maybe a major city or you don't have people that are tapped into certain environments, things like this book are extremely valuable when you know you got somebody that actually has done this, that isn't giving you just fluff and just telling you something to sell you something, but they're actually giving you their real life experience to be able to help you get where they are and if not further. You know, I don't think that anybody has anything that they could take away from me and vice versa. So, you know, there's room for everybody and there's a place for everybody. And if it's meant for you, it's meant for you.
And I agree with that. Lived experience is worth more than anything that you done learned in a book,
Yeah.
in theory. And the doing is what gets you the reps,
Yeah.
builds your muscle, and all of those things. When we talk about the book, because it's a meaty book. I mean, it's giving you everything. When I look at it, um,
Mhm.
they're going to be able to create a portfolio and a resume,
Yep.
putting together their real. And what is the real book? Real aim and
So your reel is like your portfolio of work.
right.
And you don't necessarily have, see, this is one of the things too that people struggle with is the fact that you have to have a reel in order to get representation. And in order to get representation, you have to get work without having people helping you get work. So it's a catch 22 kind of situation with building a reel because it's like, how am I supposed to get footage if I need footage to get footage? And I also need, you know, opportunities without no footage. And they're telling me I need it. So, you know, I give people different strategies and ways that I was able to build a reel without any representation. And also understanding that it's not necessarily always about how big the project is, but the quality, you know, of it being shot and the talent. If you
Mm,
got it, they're gonna be able to tell. You can even put up auditions. There's self-tape studios. There's all kind of different ways where you can get quality looking footage, and it's on you to just put in the work and be able to find material that's going to be strong enough to be able to showcase yourself. And I give people different, you know, outlets that they can use to be able to find things and opportunities like student films and whatnot, where they can tap in and, you know, go to a university where they're always doing work and looking for actors and models and things like that to be a part of their projects. And, you know, that's probably best case scenario because everybody there is actually taking it seriously.
I love that. I love that. I love that. So speaking of that, you also you do mentorship.
Yep.
So what inspired you to start your mentorship program?
Same things I just told you. But also, I've always been the kind of person that loves being able to help whenever I can. And it's an opportunity for me to be able to directly one on one be able to give you that guidance and be that friend that you may not have in your circle, to be that person that actually is in this, that's willing to give you that helping hand or answer the questions that you may have that other people may not have answered for you or that you might have been afraid to ask anybody else. You know, I'm a safe space when it comes to all of that. I understand what it's like not having somebody that you can talk to about certain things that are passionate to you, and having community, even if it's just one person, it can make such an impact on people's lives. I mean, I'm grateful for everything that I've done, but I'm honestly more grateful for how many people's lives I've been able to change throughout my life, through everything that I've been going through. And that's what honestly I think keep me going, just knowing that I inspire people and that they're doing whatever it is that they're doing in life. Um, because they've seen me not give up on what I'm doing. And I'm like, when I hear people's, reception of things, that they feel about me or that they feel I've done for them through me just staying true to myself and being that person that's willing to actually help other people as much as I can. I mean, that feeling is priceless. So I want to be that role model to actually show people that you can live life that way and still be successful.
I'm so proud of you for that, because if I had $1 for every person that has either called me, text me, saw me, and said something and said they saw Richard, and I remember at first it was the Dix commercial that was NCAA. Everybody saw that commercial but me. That's the funny thing. Then they saw you on Disney, Walk the Plank. Uh, finally see that one. All the family saw that, and they're like, "That's Richard!"
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing that I think about that is the people that you blessed even before the mentorship program. I know one was our neighbor. He got, was it acting and modeling that he got into? Because
Mhm.
you also
Yep.
are a model, a
Yep.
professional model, signed by Wilhelmina still.
Yep.
Wilhelmina
You're
Model.
supposed to know this stuff, Ma.
I do, but I have to double check. It's been a lot going on in 10 years,
Yeah,
Richard.
that,
Right. And so with that, you were able to help him like really get started right away.
yeah. I mean, it's not as hard as people think, but it also does take a strategy. You can't just wing everything in life. And that's coming from the person that try to wing everything in life. I'm
Right.
that person. So
Richard wasn't making it easy, y'all. His mama taught him to work hard. No, work smart, not hard.
yeah, and I be battling with that all the time because sometimes you can easily fall into working harder because it's not always a matter of you not being capable. It's a matter of not putting that energy in the right direction. And we get distracted, we get sidetracked by all kind of stuff in life. And until you start understanding what you need to really put your attention on, it's really easy. I mean, we human. There's so many things out here that you can be distracted by that it happens. You don't even know you've been distracted. So having somebody that's able to be a voice to keep you aware of that is extremely important. And I think that's why self help books and podcasts and all of these things are so valuable now to people because everybody ain't got people in their life that's talking like that to them.
So
And
would
that's
you say
what's
that's
wrong.
what sets your mentorship program apart from others in the industry?
I
Or are
think what sets us apart is I'm a real one and I'm gonna tell you exactly like it is. I'm not trying to get anything from nobody. I want to see people win. Everybody that know me knows that. That is one of the things that I think is missing in this industry is the celebration of other people and wanting to see other people win. And
Ashe.
every project that you actually go on in this, you're a part of a new team. So it really blows my mind that people aren't as team oriented as I feel like they can be. But I think that comes when people are in it for the wrong reasons. So one of the things I try to preach to people is you got to know why you're doing it, why you
Right.
doing anything. It's not just entertainment. Entertainment just so happens to be one of the hardest things that you could be trying to do. But at the end of the day, everything is hard if you really want to be the best at it. Nobody just had a cakewalk to being the best at anything out here. So, you got to know why you're doing it. And if you're not doing it for the right reasons and you're doing it for reasons like fame and popularity and all of this, that's going to be the exact reason why you probably don't make it
Mm,
because it's got to be something solid that actually means something to you that's going to allow you when those times get hard for it to be something tangible where you can understand this isn't something that I can just throw away because it means that much more to me. And
right.
a lot of people give up on it because they have shallow based reasons on why they're doing it. And it doesn't mean that if you don't have that right now that it's not something that can be developed, but
Right.
that's a question that you got to start asking yourself sooner rather than later if you actually going to get anywhere in this industry because everybody can talk. Everybody in this industry can talk. Not everybody in this industry can do. And it's the people that do that really have all the fun.
Are you having fun, Richard?
I'm always having fun. People know that. You know that. I'm always smiling, having fun because I'm alive, I'm healthy, and I got another day to do what I can to do something I love.
Yeah, I was so proud of you because I kept thinking like, what is going on? My
You
only
probably
child.
thought I was crazy. You thought I was probably losing it for a while.
Well, I was more proud of the fact that you weren't giving up, that
Yeah,
you didn't quit. And I know how hard it has been. It has been hard for you, because especially acting is, it can go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's not
yeah, it's a roller
consistent
coaster.
unless you get a consistent role. And there were periods where I just wanted to say, come on home, because I don't want my baby out there, not eating or not having a place to live. A lot of times I don't even know that I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
One I
well, that
found
was my choice, but not yours. So
right. So, and it was like it was hard, but I knew when you went, well, actually when you went off to college, I turned it over. I turned it over to God, and I was like, I know He yours too.
I like that.
So let just help me be the. That's when I became the consultant, because I played three roles in your life. I was your mama, then I became the coach, coaching you,
Yeah.
coaching you through a
You was
lot of.
definitely the coach because you were screaming at every game. That's for sure. Everybody know you as the coach.
Well, I like to think then I was a professional cheerleader, and then
Yeah, no, for sure.
as you became an adult and could make your own choices and decisions, and I realized one, that I had given you enough tools to be able to do that and be your own person.
Yeah,
And then I believe that I taught you to be a leader and not a follower. And you were leading, you were making your own choices and deciding your own lane. I think you took a unique path even to get into acting. If you if
absolutely.
if you want to talk about that a little bit, uh, feel free. You
I
want to
mean, I
share?
can. You want me to? I mean, I don't know if it's, I mean, everybody's path is unique, which is what I like about this. You know me, I've never been somebody that's done well with too much structure. I think you
Yeah,
do need structure, but too much that can overdo it. I don't need too much structure. I just need, um, I need fresh, exciting things going on in my life, or I will get bored easily. So I realized that I needed to get experience being in front of the camera, whether people thought I looked good or not. I was like, I don't feel right in front of this camera, just taking pictures and just talking all the time. So I got into modeling first, and that was extremely uncomfortable. Taking pictures like that, people seeing them, having your homeboys and homegirls look at you, your family, you have naked at times doing stuff, and it's just not making sense to them. And it was all for a bigger reason. And I had to get through those periods of the self judgment and the criticism, the doubt and everything. And it was all really doable because I did have somewhat of a plan from the beginning of like, all right, I'm gonna get comfortable in front of this camera with the modeling. As I'm doing that, I'm gonna be studying the acting the whole time. And
mm,
then I'm gonna get into commercials because then I'm actually getting even more comfortable in front of the camera. That's one step closer to actually being, an actor on that level I know I want. So once I dived into that and I fell in love, like you were talking about the Dick's commercial, like I was grateful to be able to have some national commercials that gave me that, spontaneity of knowing what it feels like to have people see you on TV too and being able to handle that and not letting it go to your head. And, like I didn't think I was Michael B. Jordan just because I had a Nike commercial or a, Dick's commercial. But that's why you get fed those things in different dosages to prepare you for, some of the things that you're gonna go through in the future. You're not gonna have a number one hit on your first song, but you might get some buzz and you gotta know how to handle it at every level. So I feel like that grind of having that process of doing the modeling to the commercials and then building up to, really doing the theatrical and, television route was just exactly what I needed for myself because it kept me excited and like I kept unlocking new levels of things that I wanted to learn and discover where I wouldn't get bored. And I didn't feel like I had to conquer the whole pie at one time. I got to eat it by slice and kind of build build my way up to that instead of it feeling like it was overwhelming and I got thrown in the fire. Because I did feel like I kind of got thrown in the fire still, even after having years of, class and being on TV. I'd been on TV probably, I don't know, maybe 10 times by the time that I was on Mindhunter, and I had my first like real speaking role where I was, in a scene with real heavy hitters and I had to do what I had to do. Like that was not easy. And I had probably 5, 6 years of experience at that point, of actually being in front of a camera. So that was what made me realize that I needed to take this even more seriously too, because when I saw people that do this on an everyday basis, when I was with, David Fincher and, the director that we had for that project, I was, filling in with him.
Right.
They wasn't talking to me as if there was even a conversation about me not being able to do nothing.
Right.
All certainty. And what I realized is that I need to get to a point of feeling like I'm certain about everything I'm doing instead of second guessing myself. And that was when I think I really got to another level, because finally had that guest star that I had been working for years for. It was great. It was a blessing. I got to be out there for a week. First time I flew out somewhere, for an acting job too.
Right.
I'll never forget having a 13-hour day with all of the cast members that I had been watching on this show, the years before, and thinking to myself, I can't believe I'm actually in this story. And I just spent, more time watching this show than I've been here.
Right.
And it was crazy. But at the same time, that's when you find out what you're made of and all that experience and all that practice and all those years of conversations with people and the humbleness, like I was talking about, and the doses of success that, are healthy, as opposed to, because I don't think it was meant for me to be, a one hit wonder where I just blow up overnight. Like, I don't think that was meant for me. As much as I might have wanted that to be meant for me, I don't think it was meant for me, because, I think I'm here for a long time, not a good time.
A long time, not a good time. Okay. I might need to retreat that from the mouth of Richard Morrow. So I love hearing your story. I could talk about it and listen to it all
That's
day
because it's your story too.
from a different lens. Definitely, but to see you be here 10 years later just warms my heart, and that you didn't compromise yourself. You did it your way, and you are doing it your way, and it makes me really, really, really proud to be your mama and for you to be my son. Absolutely.
I love it.
So, because I am the disruptor, what would you say are some things that you had to disrupt?
I'm steady disrupting. That's what we do.
That's what we
I've
do.
had to disrupt almost everything because nothing is really handed to you, especially in the entertainment industry. I'm grateful that a lot of my friends taught me that. I think by nature, I'm not naturally a just disruptor when it comes to wanting to make everybody feel comfortable. I want people to be happy and comfortable for the most part, but sometimes you got to make people uncomfortable. A lot of people ain't comfortable with your light, and you can't dim it just because they're uncomfortable. You know
Right.
what I mean? So I had to disrupt. I feel like the way that I approached getting a manager. If you don't remember, I faked my whole reel. I put together a reel with my classmates, scenes I stole from old movies I thought they wouldn't recognize. I was doing all kind of stuff. And I went into, having my first manager by just telling her, like, now I know this ain't the most ideal reel, but I'm telling you that all I want is the opportunity to be able, to actually build one. And if you help me do that, I promise you, I'm never going to be something you got to worry about, somebody you got to worry about, or anything in between. And you just got to take a risk. It was like the same thing with when I talked to Coach Jarvis at FAU, to get on the team. I just went for it, and that's the biggest thing. Like I said, showing up.
Right.
So I disrupted a lot of things just by showing up, just like walking onto the set of Ride Along too. What else? I mean, there's so many I can't even think of, but it really becomes a matter of whenever I see an opportunity that I'm able to actually show up in, I do.
And that feels like too a point of having courage over confidence.
Absolutely. And they
Your
go hand in hand
mm-hmm.
because you got to be very courageous every day to put yourself in a position to be turned down and rejected, and to put yourself out there in a vulnerable place and people to be able to judge you and give their own opinion that's not solicited whatsoever on your situation and your life and whatever you're doing. So that takes courage, but it also takes confidence to be able to stand in that and continue to be yourself. A lot of people like to change who they are because they think it's going to fit the image of what society or culture,
Oh, right.
whoever. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to worry about what people thought was cool. Then I realized cool is such a subjective damn word. I've met some of the coolest people in the world, and I don't care if other people think they cool or not. You know what I mean? And I realize that's all perception, and what you think is cool ain't gonna be what the next person think is cool. What the next person think is cool ain't gonna be what the next person think is cool, and you have to be okay with that. But you have to also understand that there's a whole world of people out there that do find the things that you feel are cool, cool too. You just gotta stick to them people instead of trying to, make yourself fit the mold of what everybody else is doing.
I love that. That's really sage
Come on,
advice to stay true to your most authentic self.
yep,
It's
got to.
absolutely. And you learn what you made of when you go through things like this. We've got this person that has made a comment here, Richard.
Who was that?
It says hello from Sandusky. Can you see it on the screen?
Oh, Uncle Greg.
What another one of your biggest fans. Uncle Greg has been part of the village, is part of the village. I remember when Uncle Greg went down to FAU and stayed with you to help you get another car when your car blew up
Yep.
and all of that. And I'm sure
My car blew up.
I'm
I forgot about.
right. I'm sure he's contributed to the Richard wants to be an actor in California fund.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it absolutely takes a village. Uncle Greg, I don't know if we can answer this crazy question.
He out of his mind. Everybody disregard my crazy uncle. You
We love you
want
though,
to make it in the cornbread industry.
right? Like, what does he need to do to bring his product to market? That
I
might
think the
be
cornbread industry is doing just fine.
right. I think that
That's
might
my
be more of
advice.
a question for me for my business coaching program. I could actually help
Oh, my bad.
Uncle Greg. Uh, so one of the first things would be to do is to just get started. You got to tell people that you have this cornbread. Tell them all about it. Why cornbread? All of the things. So just get started. Figure out how much you want to charge for it. What is the value that they're going to get from that cornbread, and just get started. Go
You feel
live
me?
on your Facebook. Anytime you meet somebody, tell them about this awesome and amazing cornbread. Have samples, and uh, then it goes from there because your market will determine what else they want from there. All right, Uncle Greg. Uncle Greg, we love you. He's also one of the comedians in the family.
One of them.
Hilarious. All right, Richard. Let me see what else the people are saying here. Um, Drop your questions if you have questions for Richard. Richard Morrow, he's been out in California now for 10 years, and he is an actor, a model, a producer, a writer, and a semi pro bowler. Did I miss anything, Richard?
TV host and author.
TV host and author. Absolutely. He's written the book Breaking into the Entertainment Industry, an Actor's Guide. You can catch it on all of his social media platforms. And it will definitely help you. Richard, tell us about some of the things that they can expect in the book. that would help them get started? I know we touched on it a little bit. Are there any other things that you want to touch on with regards to the book?
I got referrals in there. I got referrals of people that you can reach out to, but also groups, like I talked about, community that you can tap into to be able to have more people that are actually doing this that you can learn from, that you can ask
Mhm.
questions to, that you can, seek insight from, and just be able to actually have people, like I said, that actually do this, that know what they're doing. A lot of people just get misinformation, and I want to avoid people from falling into them pitfalls of dealing with people that they don't have to deal with. So, the people that are actually doers, I try to keep in my circle. I'm not gonna refer nobody to nobody that ain't actually doing it. So you can count on that. If you get the book. So um, I would say the referrals. I don't know. There's so much in there, but in the table of contents, when you look on there, you should be able to see all of the stuff that's in there because there's so much and there's so many things that people could be looking for. Some people may need it all. Some people may need one of the chapters. Some people may, need a few of them. So I want to, definitely encourage people to go look at the table of contents at least. That's available without buying the book, and you can make a judgment for yourself.
It's a great book. Just looking at some of the transformations, you go from being a dreamer to a doer, developing a self-starter mentality. You build a strong acting portfolio, developing a business perspective. We'll talk about that in a minute here. Creating a clear career plan, understanding the importance of self awareness. I think you touched on that a little bit about the industry, from a passive aspiring actor to an active and empowered individual who is prepared to navigate the entertainment industry with a clear vision and effective strategies. But the important part about that, your results depend on your commitment and your effort. The provided knowledge will only be effective if you actively apply it. People have to remember that part. With I just love this. I'm so proud of you that you wanted to put something out in the world and create something in the world where it would truly help people. What can people expect if they join your mentorship program? So you can get the book, but then you may need accountability and support. So
Mhm.
what can they expect from the mentorship program?
Well, I'm gonna be starting a group where when I have enough people that want to do a weekly or monthly call, I will be able to have group sessions, and sometimes, you'll just have access to be able to ask me any questions that you may have. I'm an open book, like I said. I only deal with people that are very serious about what they're doing, though. So I'm not gonna dedicate my time and commit that energy without knowing that you're serious, which is why I have people, put a deposit down, and I encourage people to do it for longer than, whether it be just one session or whatever, because you're going to have things that come up along the way that you're going to want to be able to ask. I don't want to feel like, it's one of those situations where people can't ask me. You can always ask me, but you can't expect me to dedicate my time if I don't know that you're serious about what you're doing. So you can expect to be able to get that kind of access to me that my close friends have, and people that have encountered me throughout the years know that is
Mhm.
going to be that accountability partner and the pursuit of the dream. And sometimes we need that, and I don't have a problem doing that.
Fantastic. And let me ask you a couple personal questions. Let's see.
How long we
Can
been
you
on? 40 minutes.
can you share a memorable experience from your own journey as an actor that significantly impacted you?
One of my own personal experiences.
Hmm.
Um, I got so many. I can give the one with Young Rock because a lot of people love that story, and it was such a unique situation that God just had His hands all over.
Hmm.
Um, Before that, I know you remember, but I had gotten an offer a year before I booked Young Rock to do a show with Spike Lee, and The only reason that I wasn't able to do that show was because my passport had expired. And I got my passport, and they still wouldn't let me do it because they felt I was cutting it too close. Even though I wouldn't have been filming a whole show in the first day, I'm not sure what the issue was. But it was Columbus Day weekend. I remember I was super bummed about it. Um, Opportunities like that don't come around often. I mean, Spike Lee, you think about all the possibilities that could have happened. But I just remember that whole next year thinking to myself, okay, if that happened, of course it's bound to happen again, but you never know. And I went through a bunch of auditions. I probably do over 200 auditions a year, and didn't book anything. It was like a tough period. COVID happened, and almost a year to the day, I got that audition for Michael Irvin for Young Rock, and I just knew I had it. It just had me written all over it, and I remember doing it, them hitting me up, me doing the call back, them booking me right away, and I just couldn't even believe it. But the crazy part about that whole story was that I knew from the jump that I probably was going to book that, but I didn't know how big of an impact it would actually have on me because I made lifelong friends on that project. They flew me out of the country during the pandemic. I got to be out there for a month, doing what I love. It was the first time that I got to do something on that scale for that long. And it was just really, really dope to be able to know that I had worked my way up to that point. And if I had given up after what happened the year before, I wouldn't have had that experience. Now, it wasn't a series regular on the show, but the impact of what it had on me, I feel like was extremely valuable because I met another community of people that really value the same things that I do and, really work hard. And it was honestly priceless because being down there, I remember when I got my call sheet, um, and I dated someone in Australia, so I was pretty familiar with Australia as well, which is why I felt like I was going to book the project. I didn't mention that before, but felt like I was going to book it because Australia was already like my second home and one of my favorite places. But it just so happened to be shooting in Australia on top of everything else, and I remember when I got my call sheet, it said that I was going to be filming in Cleveland, Queensland. And
Mhm.
it was on the exact same street that I had been a couple years before when I was out there. And the only reason I had been on that street was because I forced my ex to take me there. And when we got on that street, I remember seeing the American flag, and that ended up ultimately being the house that I filmed in, which made me realize I was exactly where I needed to be.
Wow.
And if I hadn't have gone, to Cleveland just because it was called Cleveland all them years ago, I wouldn't have had that moment. But
I think we have a picture of the sign saying Cleveland.
yeah, because I took a picture of it the first time I went, and I actually had a video on my phone walking on the same exact street that we filmed on. So that was how I knew God was all over it. But at the same time, that's one of those stories that impacted me because it was a testament to how committed I was to actually sticking with it when I got to a point where I felt like I finally had the break I'd been looking for all those years, and then wasn't able to grab it. And didn't feel like that even had to be the case, but had to swallow it and then go through another year or two of rejection just to get another, opportunity that made me feel that way. But I'll never forget, the memories, the friends I got on that project, the experience I got on that project, the confidence I gained on that project.
Right,
It was
right.
dope, and it inspired a different level of me producing too because I was around so many creatives that it just helped me want to be in a position to be able to just do this more.
Absolutely. I feel like too that was the first time that you knew you were really worthy because you got paid for just being
Hey,
your
good. I couldn't
own.
believe it.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, I probably ain't supposed to
That's
say
how
this,
my
but
boy David joined too. That's one of the people I met on that project.
who was that, babe?
Wavy. I don't
Yeah,
know if he's still in here or not, but I definitely saw you joined a while ago. But yeah, he was one of the people I met on that project. So many good people, but that's the beauty of being in this industry to me is all the amazing people that I get to meet.
well, and that that leads into who are some individuals or experiences that have influenced your approach to mentorship and personal growth?
Mm, I would say most of those are my friends. My friend Sedaris is one of them for sure. I watch how many people he's been able to help as a working actor and the impact that it's been able to have on not just myself, but so many other people that I know included. Doc has been because on a business side, he's always kept me, very, very aware of, the BS that can go on behind the scenes at times. And, you
Mm,
know, that kind of guidance is something that I like to be able to share with other people because I've seen a lot of people get burned. Um, Man, there's so many people. Iris, my acting coach, she's inspired me on the mentorship side because one, I believe in her coaching so much that it makes me want to be able to create an avenue to be able to bring people to her so that they're not running into a lot of the money hungry coaches out here in Hollywood.
mm, right.
Yeah, there's so many people that I'd probably spend all day trying to think of them all. But those three are
Well,
some good ones.
let's go in another direction. What are some of your hobbies or interests you enjoy in your free time?
Well, you know those. Love to bowl, love to watch movies, love to kick it with my friends, and just enjoy life every day. I'm a go with the flow kind of person. If if it sounds good to me, I'm probably down to do it. If it don't, probably won't.
About the bowling a little bit because bowling has really sounds like it's really become a release in a safe space.
I mean, it's a part of who I am. It's always been, even with 15 years off, it's been still a major part of me and just in my DNA. I think being a third generation bowler kind of, you know, helps that. But it is a therapy and a release, and it's something that I'm glad I'm able to help grow because it has a reputation that I think is very undervalued and also misconstrued based off of the way the sport has been perceived for so many years.
Right.
Um, I just love being able to be able to do something I love and combine my passions with producing, with it at the same time.
Absolutely. I think I've heard that you're kind of taking the bowling industry by storm.
You funny. You can say that.
And how are you doing that, Richard?
By showing creative ways and fun ways to be able to consume bowling and be, a part of it and grow it to the masses. And Storm is helping me do that. Being at these events and starting to connect with different people in the, bowling world. It's allowed me to be able to, help make that impact. And it's just the beginning. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. It's only gonna get way more exciting.
So what are you doing over there? Hmm, I think I saw you do a little bit of hosting.
Yeah, a little bit of hosting. I got, the cleanup crew page where I'm doing a lot of different content that is highlighting, my group of friends and the things that I'm doing in the bowling space and the education to help people become better at the amateur level. And, showing people that it's not all just about the pros. We got to build up the recreational side of bowling a little bit more because so many people love to bowl. Everybody has bowled at some point in their life, but there's not a whole lot out there for the average bowler to
Hmm.
actually enjoy. And I think in media and television and film, there's so many opportunities that have never been taken advantage of that I'm just going to keep exploring and having fun with. And there's some things that I want to talk more about, but I can't. But
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of things in store for that.
Yes, some fun projects on the way. Can we say that part?
Yeah, you can say that.
Fantastic. So be on the lookout for that. Let me see what else is in my bag of tricks here, Richard.
You
One,
have more?
of course.
So
We're
I
gonna
say,
we're getting
how
ready to
many
wrap.
questions you got?
Well, I got questions for
I
days.
know you do.
Did you have any questions on your page that dropped? I don't see those.
I don't know. I haven't gone through them.
Okay. What's one piece of advice you wish you had and received earlier in your career that you'd like to pass on to aspiring actors listening to this podcast?
Advice in my career. Hmm. I'd say probably some of the best advice that I got was never settle. Um, I think if you settle in this industry, you're gonna know exactly what you're gonna get. If you have a mentality of never settling, the possibilities are literally endless. And the reason that I've been able to do and experience a lot of the things that I have is because I've refused to settle for what the industry is just giving me. I continue to work, I continue to believe, I continue to fight, I continue to, connect and stay positive about the whole situation. And I think that when you have that kind of mentality of not settling and just thinking, this just ain't for me, or this is too hard, this is where, this is how this is supposed to go for me. That's when those insecurities and those, things that people let stop them, like fear that aren't real, end up actually becoming real. Because now you're actually letting it stop you from doing something that could ultimately lead you to some of the best things in life. I've made some of the best of friends. I've had some of the best of memories. I've had some of the best of experiences
Yes.
through what I love to do by never settling for it. And that's even with the whole process not necessarily being pretty. Like I've had a very rough adult life, but at the same time, I've had a also very prosperous one at times too, because I've never settled. And I think if I settled, I would be a lot more miserable. So I will take that any day. So I would say my best advice to anybody: never settle.
I concur. I concur. Because it's kind of like you pick your heart. It can be
Exactly. I
hard.
was just telling someone that the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, you can be hard and doing something you don't want to do, or it can be hard doing something that you know you really, really want to do. So,
Exactly.
so pick your heart. Where can people find you, Rich
Find
Mark?
me on socials. I mean, you can Google Rich TV and I'll pop up. You search my name. I got socials: Rich TV 216 on Instagram, Rich Morrow on Facebook, Cleanup Crew, the Cleanup Crew Bowling on YouTube if you want to check out my bowling stuff. Um, what else? I don't know. Google me. Yeah,
He really does mean that.
it's just easier. It's just
Rich
easier.
Richard Morrow or Rich TV. Is that how that would look?
Yep, you can just type Rich Morrow. Don't
Fantastic.
type Richard Morrow. Type Rich Morrow.
Well, Richard, we that's it for the questions. I just have one more
Hmm.
that I like to ask my guests since I'm doing all of the questions. Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, yeah. How does it feel interviewing your son?
It's fun. I might be a little bit biased though, I it warms my heart to see you and who you've become and grown into. I'm 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 excited. I'm excited that you came on my show to allow other people to see uh, why I'm so proud of you and who you are. And yeah, it's this is a beautiful feeling, beautiful, beautiful feeling, and I love supporting you, and I appreciate you supporting me.
Of course, got to. Ain't no way like the Midwest way.
Ain't no way like the Midwest. Speaking of ain't no way like the Midwest way, that is a brand that Richard and I co-founded, and our tagline is "Ain't no way like the Midwest way." It is hard work, HEART, and we have merch. Rich, I think you have one of our hoodies on.
Yep.
Um, and it says "Ain't no way like the Midwest way." We are a for-profit with nonprofit tendencies. We like to perform random acts of love, which is helping meet immediate needs. I believe that some folks are one random act of love away from their life being changed for the better. That can look like helping somebody pay for a certification, sending a kid to camp, helping someone get their car fixed. Those kind of life changing things can help you get have enough support to get you over the hump to the next thing that is waiting for you. And so we believe in that. We have two products, our merchandise. When you support us, a portion of the proceeds go to the Random Acts of Love Fund that we use to, like we said, meet immediate needs. And then we also produce a gourmet sauce called Midwest Gourmet Sauce that we'll be bringing to the market sometime at the this year. I don't have that date yet, but look for it.
Yep.
And thank you all for being here. I am your host, Selena, also known as the Disrupt Her Coach. I'm a business and empowerment coach. I further the coaching conversation through coaching conversations to get you um, to allow you to see other coaches, their offering. That is a way of us being of service. So we appreciate that you're always tuning into the conversation. I specialize in helping Christian women that are struggling with who they are, and after cutting ties from narcissistic relationships, I help empower you to know who you are, have claim your power and divine identity so that you can go on to live a purposeful life on your own doggone terms. So if you're struggling, if you need help, if you're not sure who you are, book a connection call. You can find the link in my bio. I am here for you. That's our time. Richard, you got anything else you want to say to the people?
No, I just love y'all. I appreciate anybody that tapped into here, and love you too. I appreciate you for having me. I'm proud of you too.
Thank you, my
Excited
love.
to see you helping all these other people, and yeah, I can't have you all to myself, so I
I
don't mind sharing you with people you helping.
Thank you, thank you. I think that's ditto. Ditto too. I don't mind sharing you with other people. Go out and get Richard's book. It's called Breaking into the Entertainment Industry, an Actor's Guide, and it all came from Richard's lived experience and his own mind. We thank you for being here. Have a good night.
Thank you.
One moment, ending stream.